Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Day in the Life. My name's Simon Linstead. I'm the founder and the host of the InfoSec Live community. Before we get started today, for once, I'm going to ask the audience for some help. For us to keep the community free and independent, we need you all to like and subscribe our content if you're enjoying it on our YouTube channel, please. It's one way of us driving some monetization to the platform without having to charge our community members, which is so important. So once again, please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you don't, please don't. Anyway, moving swiftly on, we've got a very exciting guest on the show this evening. It's also a very dear friend of mine. I will not waste any further time. We'll bring her straight on. It is Amanda Samitz from the Cyber Bytes Foundation. Hey, Amanda.
Hello, Simon. How are you, my dear friend? I've been looking forward to this.
I'm cold because the window's open, but other than that, I'm really good. I know we caught up briefly yesterday for the first time in a while, so lots has been happening. Can you just tell everyone a bit about yourself first before we start?
Can I single white female, man? 2 kids. Living the dream, baby. Living the dream.
I think you've got it wrong. This isn't that program.
Okay, that's another one, right? Okay, yeah, I got you. I'm there. Yeah. No, so here I am, feet firmly under the table now, Director, Innovation, Strategic Partnerships at the Cyber Bytes Foundation. And I could not be happier. It has been a journey, and, you must fall in love with the journey, and it's dynamic, it's crazy, it's incredible, it's eye-opening, it's jaw-dropping, it's a lot of things, and like I said, it's been really something to come across the pond. My naivety certainly goes through sometimes, so it's quite a transition.
You're pleased you made the move. I mean, when we met, you were living in sunny Spain.
This is lifestyle. And you know what? I love Spain, and my heart is in Spain, and it always will be. My children were born in Spain, but as I've said to a lot of people, there's a very low glass ceiling, especially for women and women in tech and that sort of thing. And I knew that there was bigger and better things across the pond. I have 2 kids, so education was a really big thing for me as well, and access for them. So there was a lot of that went into this decision, and the level of access to people that I get to deal with now, every big tech company on the planet, and we're doing things that are going to reshape what how people use text and how the DoD uses text. So it's a really, really, really exciting seat to sit in. So
to say you're at the top table is an understatement. Some of the posts I see with the people you're hosting and the people you're networking with there is, out of this world. You've got generals and beyond, senators, and all these really important people, which is fantastic. Before we talk about the Cyber Bytes Foundation, I want to talk a little bit about your journey into cybersecurity. Would you mind telling us a bit about that?
No, definitely, Simon. That's and I think my journey is a little bit unique. I come from a little bit of a technical background, and I was doing other things when I first landed in Spain. And I remember I sat across the table, from someone, and they're like, "Oh, we're hiring for this position." I was like, "Oh, this sounds really interesting." And, questions back it was really interesting. And I said, "Okay, yeah, no problem." So I ended up getting the job. And then the people came over from Helsinki to do the formal training. And I remember sitting in the room with the other people, and I was like, did they hire the right person? Like, I have no idea what they're talking about.
Welcome to my world. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did not say anything for weeks. I would, and take notes. Kind of ask some questions. It's like, wait for you, and then after the training day, then I would go home and learn all of this information they were talking about during the day. And it's like, what does that term mean? And what about this term? And and that was my introduction to zero trust and that whole world. So and it was an incredible, but when I was in it, I was like, this is awesome, and I loved every second of it. So it was that's where I fell in love with the industry, and I've just grown from there. But that was my my intro to
And
cybersecurity.
where were you before that? Because lots of people watching will be either trying to break in or raising their game in cyber. You didn't have an IT
Yeah,
background?
well,
I can't remember.
I'm sorry.
I said, did you have an IT background before? It was mining, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I have a background in mining and in business, so it certainly wasn't tech related at all, at all. Like I had a familiarity with tech, but I certainly wasn't technical in that sense. You know, I have a science and science and mathematics background, but I wasn't that technical. But you know, since then, you have to be a lifelong learner, and you have to want to learn and read and engage, and really put yourself out there if you want to really excel in cybersecurity. So, because it's such a dynamic industry, kind of what's relevant today, is going to be slightly. It's not that it's going to be irrelevant, but it's going to be slightly different. The
Yeah.
flavor of it's going to change slightly.
It's just a constant learning process, isn't it? I think I
Yes,
said this on the
definitely.
show. Said this on
Yeah.
the show yesterday. Whilst I don't work in a technical capacity or give any technical advice, I still spend an hour every day trying to keep up to date with what's going on because it just is so fast paced and it's very, very difficult to keep up with.
Yeah.
So, talking about fast paced and difficult to keep up with, let's talk about the Cyber Bytes Foundation because there is so much going on there. Can you tell us a bit about what you're doing there at the moment?
Yeah. You know what? Now, yeah, we're in a real big inflection point here at the foundation. We have some really incredible projects. We have some really incredible projects. There's some grants that have come through. There's some grants that we're working on, and we're really trying to formalize. We're really trying to formalize the training that we're doing as well. We do the A plus, Network plus, Security plus, etc. We do all those sorts of training, and those are done free of charge for people.
Oh, hold
But
on.
then we're also,
Let's stop on that for a moment because I know people will
yeah,
moan if we don't. So, did you say
yeah.
free?
Yeah, they're free. They're definitely free. You can, certainly, like, where is it? Go down to the website or go to the website or to the website. So
It's
yeah,
we'll
that way.
put the links
Yeah,
in the comments afterwards. So it's
yeah,
provided by the Cyber Bytes Foundation and it's Comptia training. Did you say?
yes, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Brilliant.
So you can take those for free. But now we're also building out, more bespoke training, that the DoD can use, or people who are transitioning out of the military, or they want to do any sort of cert stacking and that sort of thing. So we're putting, we're spending a lot of time and resources on expanding the training that is available, and how we're going to deliver that.
So what does a day in the life of Amanda look like at the moment, or is there no such typical thing?
Well, you know what? I have to do a couple of things, and as being a nonprofit, we are exactly that. We're a nonprofit, and so I need to find ways in order to monetize what we do at the foundation. And I have to look to the large tech companies and saying, okay, what tech do I need in the building, and I need to keep the lights on and pay the bills. So I also need to generate revenue into the foundation as well. So that's a lot of what we do. And the reason we tour a lot of the, all the people with stars on their shoulders through the building. It's like, come here, see the tech that we have. You can see, feel, taste, see, feel, touch all the tech that we have. And how can we solve? And that's what we say back to. It's like, this is the cutting edge technology. How can we help you solve your problems? And we do it in a very, very agile way. And that's generally our secret sauce, is that they don't have to go out to each vendor individually and go through that really tumultuous
Yeah.
acquisition
Drawn out,
process.
lengthy process. Yeah. No,
Yeah, and
absolutely.
here it's there's this collaboration that goes on. That's really exciting, and I think that's where the magic happens.
It's about the culture, isn't it? And I suppose the ethos of the organization as well. And
Yeah.
I think you're doing something quite unique in the States. I don't know. There's definitely nothing like it over here in the UK. I kind of think
Yes.
he's a bit like Iron Man, isn't he? Your boss, I think.
Yeah. He likes to refer to it as like cyber Disney. Anything that you could ever
Yeah.
want is, it's kind of in our building, and it's really, it's really incredible. Like, we have billions and billions and billions of dollars of equipment on the second floor. So,
Wow.
You know, like we had a box that arrived yesterday, and you're just like, you know, and that's, you know, crazy amounts of money just, you know, for this processor.
I bet.
So it's just, it's sad.
I need,
It's
I need
this
to
is
go to the States and have a look on that floor at some
you
point.
do, you do, you do.
So
So
let's talk about challenges in the industry at the moment. So you see lots of people complaining about lots of different things, me being one of them on LinkedIn.
yeah, yeah,
What
it's
do you see as the biggest challenge at the moment for people trying to break into the industry?
I I read something yesterday, and you know, I want to clap my hands for the woman and say fantastic. Like, I am so happy that you finally got your role into cyber. Um, but in the same breath, she had to apply to over, I think she said, I think it was like over 200 jobs. Really? So in one breath, we're saying, oh, we have, you know, this talent shortage, etc. But then you have someone who is so desperate and so, you know, kind of have pivoted their career, you know, and has obviously dedicated a lot of time and energy and resources, etc. And they have to apply for 200 jobs. 200 jobs. You know, that's a different level of resiliency.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate because we always do this when we have a
Yeah,
conversation.
I'm ready.
And I'm going to say, why on earth did they send off 200 applications? And the reason I say that is from speaking to lots of recruiters and lots of people looking for work.
Yeah.
Not enough people tailor those resumes for each actual application, and it seems to be some of the people who
Yeah.
see success quicker are the ones who aren't doing the volume, but they're doing the quality. I'll now light that touch paper and sit back. Are you speechless?
No, I'm not. I'm not. Simon, cut me? No, never.
Come on then.
Yes, I agree that you need to do that. But at the end of the day, we all know the software that goes, that it's like, I just need to put words on a piece of paper that are like, it doesn't even matter what order they're in, as long as those words are on the piece of paper. So you need to tailor it. Yes, you need to tailor it so that the words that they're looking for are in your resume. So literally just copy and paste them to the bottom. It doesn't need to be better than that. You know?
Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here and saying that the process isn't broken, because it clearly
Yeah.
is.
And you know, like, God, I'd love to fix it. Like, why isn't there just a portal where, you know, I have all, you know, just it just needs to be better. It's like, oh, you know what? Here's a resume, great. And then you can, like, imagine you could just click a button and, like, I can call you directly like this, you know?
I think there's some people working on that right now,
Yeah.
in our community as well, and
So
there's definitely a gap for it. There's also, one could say, a gap for education from the recruiters sometimes as well, and that isn't a slight to all of you at all. But in some of their instances, you know, going through 6-7 interviews before you get to the point of having a job. And my pet hate, actually, let me just get this one out there today, because I'm
okay.
actually looking for an opportunity at the moment, and I
Okay.
reckon out of 50 jobs that I've looked at, 4 of them showed the salary. And
Yeah.
I know it isn't all about the salary, and for me, it isn't about the money, and you know that. You know I'm not just about the money, but equally, I have got children and a home, and I still need to
Yeah.
know what it's going to be. So I don't understand. Maybe it's naivety from my age and being out of the job market, having my own businesses for so long, and not being aware of it. But I've never known of a job being posted that doesn't tell
Yeah.
you how much you're going to be paid.
Well, excuse me. Well, I'm not, I'm really fortunate. I'm one of those people. I love the work that I do, you know, and I work with some incredible people, and, you know, there's this part of my day where I don't really know what's going to happen. You know, there's the surprise element. So I'm really fortunate that way. However, I'm not a volunteer. I have 2 children. I have bills that I need to pay. We need to put petrol in the car. You know, I might want to eat more than once a week, you know,
Be
things
nice.
like that. There's necessities of life that we need to pay for. And, we need to be cognizant of that. So to say, oh, it's not about the money, etc. You need money in order to live, so you can take care of your children. Your children need to go to school. They need, they need shoes and clothes and all the other things that go along with, kind of living one's life. So I think we need to get really comfortable with talking about money. It's like, this is how much I make. Great. Yeah. This is the industry standard. And, I think that's maybe if I can throw out a little tip or trick, when people ask, can you give me, during a job interview, oh, what are you asking for? Like, what's your salary requirements? And that is my standard answer. I want industry, industry and market rate, so that it doesn't like pigeonhole me into anything. So,
and I obviously did that wrong yesterday then.
Well, hey,
because
what
I'll
did
write
you
that one down. I brought up Alex's comment.
Okay.
I love it. I'll find the best company and position for my career development and kick the door down. Yeah. Alex, love that. And it goes back to what Paul and I were saying yesterday in that research who you want to work for. For me, a career isn't just about paying the bills. It's about enjoying what you do. And as you rightly said, Amanda, you're lucky that you enjoy what you do. Is it luck, or is it because you've chosen a career in something that you enjoy? It's a bit of both, maybe.
I think that if people knew what I physically had to do to sit in this chair, like the hurdles that I had to go through, because I'm not.
I'm only laughing. People probably think, why is he laughing? It's because Amanda told me a story yesterday about her experience in customs, and we won't go into it today.
Oh, yeah, and it's like I said, it's all of these things, and it is a completely different world over here. Like, it is so, like, don't get me wrong, I'm Canadian first, but I have lived in Europe for a really, really, really long time that I have forgotten what it's like to live over here. So, so it is a lot different. And, so in addition to trying to get my feet under the table, the hurdles and I put in a post the other day about like, there were days, yes, I did cry some days. I was like, this is so stressful, but you have to keep your eye on the prize and say, you know what, I'm doing this for this reason because I love what I'm doing, because if I was just doing it for, an extra couple quid every month, that's not going to bring you through those really dark times, those times you're like, I just don't have any more gas in the tank. So you better love what you do.
It goes back to the point about, whilst there's a lot of money to be earned in cybersecurity, if you're getting into it just for the money, it's the wrong career choice. You can make money a lot easier doing other jobs in other industries. And the amount of learning, the constant learning that you have to have, I hate the word passion, but I can't think of a different one. You have to have that interest, that passion to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So
it's very, and it's just like, cybersecurity isn't everything. And this is a very famous quote from someone in this building. Cybersecurity isn't everything, but it's in everything.
Yeah.
So it is.
Good job. It's not your catchphrase.
No, it's not mine anyway. So we just have to be, like the amount of learning and, and the specialization is going to become more and more and more important, so it's,
I think there's a place for a generalist from a consultative point of view, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That whole liaison with the C-suite type, but I think you're right, it's going to become more and more specialized in each area as things get more complex and develop.
Yeah. So, and I think there's good, like, we're trying to push the business side of the house and the technical side of the house and the cybersecurity side of the house, together. But as things are growing, like, it just seems like, we're trying to do this and it's doing it, it's doing this. And I had a conversation with, a business owner just a couple of days ago, and one of the big trainings that he's putting together is educating the C-suite, educating the business side of the house and the technical side of the house so that they know how to work together.
Yeah.
Because the CEO of the company, the CEO, the CIO, the CEO, the CFO, those sorts of people, they don't know anything about cyber. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I don't know. They can't. If something happens, then what? So there's this whole conversation about changing the conversation that happens between, at the higher level within an organization.
I think someone mentioned yesterday or the day before as well, which I naively hadn't thought about, is the importance of being able to communicate the other way as well. So when you've got a CISO or a CTO, whoever it is, then trying to manage their team underneath, they need to be able to get across to them that the reason you haven't got the budget for this is because financially the business can't afford it, or the reason we're not going to implement that is because it doesn't align with this strategy. And I think it's as important to communicate back the other way as it is that way, because all parties have got to, collaborate and get on. And a good example of that not working is I won't mention his name, spoke to someone today in the UK who'd had a desperate call from a new client who had their security looked after by their IT service provider, and it hadn't gone terribly well. And it was, I think the saying is, shut the gate, horse bolted, something like that. So it was a little bit late, but again, it's that you're talking about things pulling apart. I mean, globally, everything's pulling apart at the moment, but the IT kind of organizations and the security really need to start doing this, because it can't continue to be a competition that our box is doing it right and you don't need that, and it needs to be collaborative.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I will, kind of comment here, just for a little, maybe even for a little bit of a clarification. We predominantly work on, and maybe even if anybody's listening, they might want to throw me a message if they want to kind of help out with this. We predominantly deal with the DoD, and it's sometimes they don't even know what the problem is, or they don't know, I've had, the senior level officials stand in front of me and say, you know what, we don't even know the questions to ask to solve these problems, which is inherently a problem itself.
Yeah.
So we deal, like I said, we deal with DoD military problems, which are not, and it's a little bit different dealing on the commercial side.
It's a different world completely,
Yeah, and in just how they approach problems is a little bit differently. So one thing that we're, that I'm going to try and spearhead this year with at the foundation is to bring in the commercial side of the business as well, so that we can there can be some learning between, the DoD as well as the commercial side of the house as well.
Well, let's explore that. Let's explore that a bit more, because it's a kind of an amazing market for these companies to get involved in. Who would be the perfect companies for that, in your opinion? Just in case they're listening.
Well, that's an interesting question. We already have, like I said, I'm really, really fortunate. We already have, and I don't want to drop any specific names, but we already have some of the biggest tech companies on the planet in the house. But that is, we have their DoD representative. So, kind of what needs to happen now is we need to get the people who sit on the commercial side of the business. We need to engage with that side of those companies. So, we're halfway there. It's just, setting it all up. What does that look like? What does that engagement look like? Do we want to just focus on healthcare? Is it healthcare, financial, those sorts of things? The regulated, still regulated industries, but aside from the DoD.
I suppose it's the nearest when it comes to frameworks, isn't it, and organizational structure and reporting as well. I think we're still not seeing that great adoption of a security first mindset from non-regulated businesses, though, are we? That seems to be the problem.
It's difficult, but it's, and especially when you're dealing with really legacy architecture, things like that. So, and then there's the whole, am I going to go to the cloud, or am I not going to go to the cloud? There's so many questions, and there's so many ways to architect, but again, look left to your problem, and, bake the security in as soon as you can, that's That's my 2 cents worth, you know. And then
There's small steps happening across the industry. I've said this before, but it doesn't help when you've got the big players selling these magical box solutions to firms that fix their security issues when they don't. And
yeah.
when companies have got the budgets that they have to promote this stuff, it makes it very
Mhm.
difficult to get a cohesive message across. Let's talk about whole cyber human initiative, because I had Paul on yesterday. We are
Yeah.
both board members, so it makes
Yeah.
sense for us to have a chat
Yeah.
about what they're doing, because
Yes.
Paul and I spoke about it briefly.
Yeah. Yes, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Paul. If he's listening, hi. I spoke to him, yeah, just not that long ago. And so yes, there's going to be, there's going to be a little bit more work between our organization and his organization. Especially on the training fronts, and we've talked about what we can do to streamline everything. Instead of his organization just trying to do all the heavy lifting, we will kind of help it along, and he'll push people to our organization as well. So those, definitely collaboration. I think collaboration is probably one of my favorite words. So
I think
that's where a lot of magic happens.
it's the way forward, isn't it? And
Yeah.
it is where the magic happens. And
Yeah.
I spent too long trying to do everything on my own in the past, and it's not only a thankless task, it's also very lonely as well. And it's about playing to your strengths, and we've all got different strengths. I
Yeah.
mean, mine clearly aren't technical, and we'll work out what mine are later. But
Yeah.
there's lots of different skill sets in this industry, and Paul's challenge that he was talking about yesterday is very exciting, because you get to
Yeah.
use every single little piece of the knowledge across the board. So I think that's something for people to get engaged with, definitely. What shall we talk about now, Amanda? What do you fancy talking about? Any
What?
suggestions in the chat? Is there anything you'd like to hear us talk about? Any questions for Amanda? There's quite a few of you watching, so my internet is a bit laggy, so my questions are coming up quite slow. Jeremiah, I see you lurking in the audience. Have you got anything to say to us apart from hello, my friend? Not yet. So,
Yeah.
okay, let's talk about women in cybersecurity. It's something I never speak about, because my mum always told me that to talk about women separately in the workplace is to cause division rather than to
Yeah.
promote anything. So, for anyone who wonders why I've never jumped on the respecting security bandwagon or any of these other badges, it's twofold. One, I
Yeah.
think diversity is something we shouldn't even have to talk about. And the more we make it an issue sometimes, the worse it gets. I can
Yeah.
say this because my mum was the first female solicitor in East Anglia in the UK, and she had a real struggle. So,
Yeah.
I know it's really, really difficult. We know
Yeah.
personally that there are some really arrogant, horrible old white men out there, because we've both met them. We won't
Yeah.
mention names.
Yeah. No names. No names.
But there's
Um,
definitely a lack of diversity in the industry. There are some
yeah.
organisations doing some stuff about that on a proactive basis. You've struggled. I know you've had some struggles, perhaps
Yeah.
because of being a lady. I don't know. You tell me.
You know what? And I really wish I knew the answer. And it's really little. And I struggle with this myself, because I don't want to, I think I'm hypersensitive to it, and I try not to be. But
you shouldn't tolerate it either, should you?
no. For instance, and I've talked to other females in the industry as well, and it's like, it. We'll be in a meeting. Oh, Amanda, can you get us some coffee? Amanda, can you take the notes? And
Yeah, it's a two-way street, I suppose, isn't it?
and do you react to it? Do you just say no, thank you? It's
What I
you
normally
don't
do
want
is make them a really bad cup of coffee, and then they never ask again.
Yeah, see, that's good advice.
Yeah.
That is sound advice, everybody. But it's just really little things that I don't think people are doing, on purpose. They're just not mindful. They're not mindful that how that comment might make somebody else feel. And
I think there's a lot of whether to say it or not, there's a lot of unconscious bias going on out there, and I think we're all guilty of that sometimes.
Yeah,
Um,
no, of course
and
we are.
I
Of
think
course.
you can't blame it on upbringing, or you can't blame it on age, but what you can do is be mindful of your actions and how you behave,
Yeah.
and try and consider how other people would feel in that situation. And I think it's no different whether you're talking about a woman, a
Mhm.
child, you should always be respectful of how other people feel, and also
Yeah.
respectful of their viewpoints as well, because the beautiful thing about this world is that we all have our own ideas
Mhm.
and we all have our own views on things. LinkedIn
Yeah.
sometimes isn't the best of those debates. People get a bit trolly, but
I haven't heard that for a while.
trolley.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
So everyone,
I'm new to social media last year, so I've
yeah.
only actually been trolled the last few weeks for the first time, so it was an experience for
Oh,
me.
right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. There we go.
it was nice.
No, no. Oh, my word.
Well, I feel like
Yeah.
I've made it now.
Yeah.
If I'm being
I've made,
trolled,
yeah, you made the big leagues
I've
now.
made the big
So,
league. Yeah,
yeah.
you get
No,
nasty,
that's,
nasty, horrible, spiteful people everywhere in the world, and social media is no different. And
no.
it goes back to something I say all the time about how important it is to surround yourself with the right people. And
Yeah.
talk
I'm actually in the process of going through that now. It's like, life is complicated and busy and messy, and and it's fun and exciting, and I don't need people who are going to take the wind out of my sails, or
no.
to do any of that sort of thing. Life is way too short for that. And maybe that's maybe that's another piece of advice. Just make sure that you're surrounded by some really good, smart people who want you to succeed. That's really important, and it's critical. I know where
I think as well though, Amanda, there's a lot of people in this industry who are struggling. I mean, I have my days when I struggle, to be motivated. Two things you have to do. One's wear a bit of a mask sometimes.
yeah, of
No
course.
one wants to hear it, right? If you're having a hard time, especially not on
Yeah,
social media. And it's not going to do you any favors either. But
yeah,
you also should reach out and help people who are struggling too. But there does become a point where you have to distance yourself, because for anyone who's ever done any counseling before, you know that the kind of negative emotions that you pick up from people when you spend time with them, it starts to make you feel like that as well.
yeah.
And so, whilst it's lovely helping other people, there does come a point in those relationships sometimes when, if the other person isn't helping themselves, that you have to walk away, and it is hard.
It's true. You have, you don't want to be an enabler, but you also want to, identify if somebody, maybe you need to steer them in the way that they need a little bit more serious help, or the help of a mental health expert, beyond being a good friend. You can be supportive, you can be a good friend, and you can be all of these things, but then there comes a point, it's like, yeah, you know what, if you're having that many bad days in a row, that's something different, and it's
I
okay.
think
And it's okay if you're having a lot of bad days in a row. I'm not, please don't take that comment that way, but,
no.
a friend, can't help you, that way you might.
Sometimes you need professional advice and professional
Mhm.
counselling. I've sought professional advice and counselling before. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And I'm British. We hide away from going to the doctors, but
That's
talking
right.
to people
Yeah.
is important. But sometimes those of us, like myself, who gives up time to speak to other people, I think sometimes we can do more damage than good, because we're not really aware of how to manage those emotions and manage people like that. So I think it's a really good point, Amanda. There comes to
Yeah.
a point where you need to look at the professional side as well. Let's stop talking about trolls and miserable things.
Yeah, let's talk
We've
about
got
the good stuff.
we've
Let's
got
talk
10,
about the
15
good
minutes
stuff.
left. Anything you'd like to cover off today?
Well, what would I like to talk about? I think, really building up the commercial side of our business is going to be important to me. So, anybody, what I will say, and I'll put this out there, anybody who wants to help with the foundation, we are a non-profit organization. So I am screaming for resources. So if anybody does want to help support us, or, and we will always kind of, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back sort of thing. So if anybody does want to get involved in some way, then we can certainly, like, just reach out to me and say, here's what I'm looking for. And, or maybe you want, an introduction to somebody, we can certainly do that. I'm more than happy to do that.
Where's
So
my hand? Here. Where
there,
is it?
yeah,
There.
yeah.
There we go. There's
What is coming up? in 2022 for your organization. So yeah, again, we are really heavily focused on building out the education arm of the foundation. So we're doing a lot more training, building out some bespoke training, etc. And like I said, the setting up a pardon me, setting up the commercial side of what we're doing. So we, at the end of the year, I had to put something together that was, we're going to be doing like quarterly events, monthly events, bi-weekly events, annual events, that sort of thing, just like the yearly plan. So, we're going to be doing that. So, if anybody wants to help with the events.
I think there's something else you're not saying, because we had a chat earlier on this week and you did mention you might be doing some regular kind of things like this, I thought. Or was that a secret?
No, yes, I once a month. Okay, fine. We'll let the cat out of the bag. So, yes, I am going to start. I am definitely going to start a podcast, and I think it'll be very fun. I like having conversations with people. I love hearing someone's opinion that is very, very different to mine, and that contrarian or that heretic in the room. Absolutely, I want to talk to you.
Let's do a call out for people now then, because if you're going to start doing that soon, you need to start building up a list of exciting guests. So if anyone's watching, please do reach Amanda for that. That would be really good.
Yeah, certainly. Reach out to me, and yeah, like I said, so the podcast is going to be fun. Hopefully, Simon, as we did talk about, hopefully there is, you and I can do the first two and bring on some really exciting guests, and all of our quarters are going to be very streamlined, like Q1, 5G, AI, cybersecurity, etc. So, that we're going to focus on those sorts of things. The AI in cybersecurity is really, really interesting. I think AI is one of my new favorite things. It's really it's pretty exciting, and we're
scary.
Really, yeah, yes, it is that. I had a meeting the other day with an organization called NVIDIA, and they are really at the cutting edge.
I really need some graphics cards if you see them again for my mining rig. So if you go back.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'll send you a photo of what arrived upstairs the other day. So, and because we need to get ahead of the ethics on this. And so I had this conversation with him, and he was, I was actually quite, I was satisfied with the answer that he provided back. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to, salesy, but I'll take it. So, yeah.
So you feel a bit more comfortable with that?
It was a well thought out and presented answer.
He's been asked it a lot, I reckon.
Yeah. But we really do need to get ahead of the ethics on this, and that's something that is a little bit near and dear to my heart. And I spend quite a bit of time reading about this, and talking to other experts in the field as well. So
I read a piece, I think it was last month, where they'd asked the AI the question about ethics. Did you read that?
I'm sorry?
They asked an AI the question about ethics.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't read that. That should be interesting.
I can't remember what the answer was, so you'll have to look it up. But there's definitely an article where they tested that out, and it was interesting, I think, to say the least. I brought up a message on here from Alex again. We like Alex's comments today. Thanks for getting engaged there, Alex. What are the expectations of someone entering the industry at a later age rather than straight from university? Well, firstly, why are you asking Amanda and I that? Is it because we're of later age? Because if it is, that's offensive, Alex.
I'm 19, Simon. Come on. I'm not finished university yet.
And also, how do you convince the interviewers your past experience is relevant? I'll start off on that one. I'm not a recruiter, so I can't answer it on their behalf. But I think coming into the industry at a later age brings lots of benefits and positives with it as well. Not only work experience, but life experience in general. That's my opinion. And how do you convince the interviewer your past experience is relevant? I refer back to my previous answer, Alex. I think relate what you've done before to the role that you're applying for. Think it through. And I think that's how you do it. You've got a much better chance of relating your experience than someone who's just left university. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
Amanda, what would you say?
I think it's having life experience is really important for the cyber community. You know, it you're able to draw on those experiences and your life experience, etc., to ask the outlying, those outlier questions, and think about things in a little bit differently, as opposed to 2 + 2 is 4. Like, you need to think well beyond that when you're doing problem solving. So that's I would really focus on problem solving abilities, critical thinking, and kind of as you move through your life, you have more experience to draw on in order to do that.
And
And I
you've
think
also
like that's
you've
a
also
really critical
mentioned
skill.
you mentioned two things that veterans have a lot of as well from their own experience, the critical thinking part for sure.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that's something that you've helped a lot with. I know it's something the whole Cyber Human Initiative are doing some work on.
yeah,
Peter Klein at Boots to Books, they're doing some amazing well. And I know with me, are also doing some work with veterans and also some refugees in the UK. So there are lots of companies
yeah.
trying to change it, but we need to see more of that from some of the bigger organisations, perhaps as well. So
Agreed.
one more question here: will the foundation be
Be
adding
adding
Linux
a Linux
courses?
course. You know what? That's a very good question, and I don't have the answer to that question, Simon. I don't know.
But we can
Um,
find out and come
but
back, can't
I
we?
will. I can certainly find out. I can ask the director of education,
Let me
and
make a note.
yes, and I will. We can post the answer to that.
Excellent. So what
So
got you guys into offering free resources for Comptia? I mean, is there scope for other exam support around that, or is it just the Comptia stuff at the moment?
yeah, right now that's what we're doing right now, and then we're building out a quantum academy, and then we're going to be doing like more bespoke training for let's say the FBI or the CIA, or any flavor of the military comes through and says, oh, we need to do this XYZ training. Then I can kind of go out to industry and say, here's the training that this organization needs. Can you come and do it at the foundation for X? So we're going to be doing a little bit more of that, and just letting them know that we have labs here. They come and learn in 5G, or those sorts of things. So
Did I
we're
did I see some bricks being laid for foundations for a new part of the centre as well? Was that this year or
Yes, you did. You did. When was that? That was in,
it was reasonably recently, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah, no, it was a few weeks ago,
yeah.
Um, when I first landed, it was like I was, kind of doing the event planning and everything. So that was, it was all consuming, just landing in a new country, and, trying to find vendors, and, getting speakers, and, that sort of thing. And, getting uh, aligned with the people that we needed to get into the building, sort of thing. So, so that was fun, and it was great. And we did have a groundbreaking ceremony, for our next building, which is going to be really focused on AI, quantum computing, and everything in that sphere. So that's going to be the Darwin Center at the Cube.
I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
I haven't asked not your area, but I do know that I think your governor, Caesar Nadar. Sorry, Caesar.
Yes, is that, yeah.
He posted a post yesterday about augmented reality goggles, and for me,
Yeah.
that's something that I've been excited about for about 6 or 7 years. Although that excitement's turning to worry the more the metaverse thing comes out, because I wonder whether my children are ever going to leave their bedrooms ever again.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't know.
that.
I think there's lots of positives to be seen from it. I mean, the way you can apply it to work, to design, to planning, to all of these practical applications is phenomenal. But my
Yeah.
concern is around the more recreational
Yeah.
usage.
Yeah. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I was fortunate enough to attend an event down in Orlando. It's called ITSEC, and that's what it focuses on, is this whole simulation, modeling and simulation. And it is incredible, the training that you can do. I was doing like flying a helicopter, and it was fantastic, and it was awesome, and I loved it. And kind of ride around in vehicles, and So you get to do these really immersive experiences that you would never have access to. So there's that side, and it's very like, we were kind of going down, and I was like, like screaming.
The nearest I get to that is using one of my children's got an Oculus Rift VR, and there's a really good dinosaur roller coaster. If anyone wants to have a go.
Oh, that's fun. See,
I know,
there you go.
This is what you do when you're 47 and bored at home. You see, this is what we do. So we've got a couple of minutes left. Is there anything you want to say to everyone before we wrap up?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say, I want to non-technical. I just want, make sure you are doing something that you love. If you chase money, you'll never have money. But if you chase something that makes your heart happy and that you can sit in your chair and say, I love doing this, then do that. And make sure you're doing it in a really good environment, with people who are supportive. Not every day is a perfect day, but make sure your day, like every day at my desk it's not perfect every day. And there's days like, oh my God, this is difficult some days, but make sure that you have the right support system around you, that the environment is good and you're solving you're solving the problems you want to be solving. So that's
so important. And I think through the pandemic, we've seen people realize that more and more, which is why you've seen this great resignation occur across the country. Unfortunately, not yet from our own Prime Minister. Can I just do a shout out to Boris?
Ooh, I know.
Send the letter, son. Send the letter.
I have to say it. Did you see the flow chart? Okay. Are you at a party? Okay. Was there wine and cheese? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, we laugh about politicians and how corrupt they are, but it's got to the point now where I think political cards on the table. I've voted Conservative all of my adult life. And maybe was that misguided? Maybe. But the man needs to step down because he's lost everyone's confidence. Sorry, am I boring you there?
No. Someone was trying to call. My phone was buzzing, and I just had to stop it.
Are you messaging Boris? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Boris, can you get the cheese board out?
I don't know. I don't want to get into a political debate, but leadership's about leading by example. And he's definitely not. So it's time for us to move on. It's time for everyone to stop arguing everywhere. That's my finishing thought. Is the world is the most divisive I've ever known it in my 47 years. And whatever community you're part of, or if you're not part of a community, make sure you are, because connecting with people and community and collaboration, all those C words are all important. And I'll finish off with a quick. I suppose I should put the graphic up really. Here is a link to, if I can find it, if you'd like to join our free community. Find my finger.
There we go.
There we go. That's there.
It's great. There we go.
We're independent. We have got nearly 2,100 members now in the last 7 months. It is the most engaged independent cyber community in the world at the moment, and it's free, and we want to keep it free. The only way we can keep it free for the members is by driving some monetization from somewhere. One of those aspects is through YouTube ads. So if you do enjoy the content and you haven't liked and subscribed, please do click the like and subscribe button. Hit the alert button to be notified of future content. Amanda, it has been an absolute pleasure as always.
Yes.
I'm going to play us out with our usual video from the community telling you all how great it is. Can't wait to speak to you again.
I know, and everybody stay tuned for the Amanda and Simon show.
When is it? Can we give a date? Is there a date yet?
We'll have to talk about that one, but yes, we should do it very soon. Very soon.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks ever so much, everyone, for your support.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Amanda. Bye.
Thank you.
It's been so great to be part of this awesome community where you can learn, get potential jobs, and this is the part that the community has helped me the most, being able to get a great contract in security, and thanks for this.
You don't have to be super experienced in order to contribute. They really foster a sense of community, and they encourage everybody to contribute anything that they can, regardless of whether you're just starting out in your career or if you've been in a career for decades. I like the different challenges that they have, the different pathways that you can follow, the fact that you can join communities that are specific to you and your needs. It's a new and growing and thriving group, and I'm really proud that I was able to be a part of it from almost the very beginning.
It's given me a community I could lean on, and the people in there are always willing to help. I've also gotten to break into cybersecurity because of InfoSec Live, and I'm very grateful for that.
Cybersecurity professional or trying to become one, you need to get onto InfoSec Live.
Whether you brand new to the field, whether you are pivoting from another IT career or you're pivoting from a non-IT career, this is the place for you to. Also, even if you are an experienced professional, there will be something here that you can learn.
InfoSec Live has been great for me because it's brought me closer to other like-minded people, and I've been able to pick the brains of some real industry experts that are also part of the community.
To the right place, because listen, let me tell you that InfoSec.live is everything that it claims to be. A vibrant community. They've got all that you need on InfoSec.live. Listen, to tell you, InfoSec.live is addictive. Get on board. Come and get addicted.
Get on InfoSec now.